the moment we have all been waiting for here. The last game. Who is going to be able to make it through? We have a ton of fan favorites still in this lobby looking for that big win. And we have a lot of underdogs as well, ready to start their own story and their own journey to superstardom.
There's the last opportunity to qualify through a victory royale with that golden ticket. After this, in day 3 of the semifinals, it's through consistency. So duos like Cammy and Seti might be happy about that if they're unable to secure the VR. But you know, Jacob, you know how good it can feel to get that VR, get that win, and the golden ticket that comes with it.
Yep, with the new spot opening up at Grand Glacier, we've got no time being wasted and having multiple teams trying to find some success here. Misha and Tini being one of them. Spinaldo and Chrono is going to be the other one. You can see him just looking around. They know somebody lands here, but this is the thing is they don't know exactly where these players are currently positioned at. And I'm not sure they know it's Misha and Tini either. The masters of disguise. It doesn't matter where they're hiding. They usually figure out a way to catch people off guard.
Making good use of the shield breaker EMP to take out the vending machine. As now they continue to kind of be cautious here because they know that there is duos in the surrounding. So they can't. Well, you can never be too careful in those situations, and especially in ones like the one we're seeing here at Fencing Fields with 3 duos being contested. FR, Lupin, actually going to be taken down now. The 2v1, the danger levels increase as the pressure is on.
Just not the best look. Hot on the heels. Even with damage being traded off, they were just too much in the hole. But another team, Fury, said, hey, a finished fight. This is my chance to strike while the iron top. Players are weak, but you can see there's so much space, multiple exits. They can try to get out, but the shots are still finding Ricky. And that HP is going right out the window. And you see Curb, one is high ground, one is above and below ground. They're trying to take 2 different angles to figure out where these players are going to come from. And they even were able to sneak away the medallion as they push them off the vault and claim it as theirs.
Staying efficient, there's always something you can be doing, even if you're waiting for an opportunity to get into the vault, for your opponents to come close. You can see they're farming up wood, farming up bricks, doing something, as there's always time to be efficient. Now that the vault has been secured, they're going to be able to secure that extra loot. But Nipsey, Marco, and Vision are going to be the ones that go down. Nipsey coming out on top with Jerdy. Good way to start off the engagement in Ritzy Rivera.
That's gotta be painful with how well you have been playing, especially in that last game, up until the point Venno and Tayson took you down. But I saw it in the feed. They read my mind. I saw it not go down. Vico and Pinq have finally defended the forecast tower successfully. Kiro and Kudo get pushed off and pushed all the way back to the lobby. Could this be their game, Takada? This could be the biggest shot they have to win this game and advance directly to the grand finals.
I mean, they didn't even just eliminate Kiro and Kiduo. They have 4 Elims, Jacob. There was 2 duos that felt their wrath so far. And we can see the first one here. It was actually right off the bat, basically, chased down by a crash pad. And now, next up, the engagement towards the forecast tower. It's looking bright for Pinq and Vico in the last match of the day.
This could be their run. Don't want to say too much because they still have a ton of Fortnite to play out. 37 other teams need to go down. And just kind of quick reference reminder, 6th through 25th today will advance to tomorrow's upper bracket round 3. So obviously we talk about the win. That's what you're really fighting for. But plan B is get into that top 25 because then you get more chances to qualify to the grand finals versus going to the lower bracket and having to earn your fight back.
Exactly, in the lower bracket, it's only top 15 to qualify directly to the grand finals. Makes it quite a bit more difficult. You can take a look here, though, at Raxi, who was able to take out X-Sweeze. Not sure how healthy they're looking now, but for Mixin, back on his loot path, on his route, which concludes at this mountain that opens up the surrounding kind of POV vision onto the opponents rotating through, alongside the forecast tower. I mean, they are very set up for the rest of this match.
Yeah, they're only really looking for the win here because if you judge them off the points, 25th place currently positioned at 86 points or so. maybe a little bit more after that, but that's the threshold right now. So you got to imagine they're over 200 points sitting in first place. They have their upper bracket spot on lock, but that just means you have to go again tomorrow. They want to go ahead and give themselves a break, win it here, advance to the finals, and join 10 other teams to have a chance to call that so. But Sky and Shakos gets tagged up along the way, forced into the house. They're separated, and this is the chance to strike for Uguay and his duo.
Unable to build on the roof. You have to be careful. As Uguay, Kijino capitalizing on that information. But they have to be careful. This is the last opportunity today. The last shot. If you get eliminated, that's it. You are either on to day 3 uppers or lowers. As Sky Jump is going to be chasing Skavi here.
Yeah, luckily there is another team not too far off, so you're not going to move as hastily from point A to point B as you want. But you can see in the mini map they're going around that mountain. A lot of damage was done to that solo to kind of let him run away, especially at this stage in the game. If your point is to simply move up the leaderboard to have another try at uppers, sometimes eliminations are necessary even though they're risky.
Let's take a quick look at how Sky Jump got to the situation he was in. Looks like right off the rip, they were forced into an engagement here, but quick little edit down is going to be all it takes for that elimination. Cammy and Seti now haven't... Well, I was going to say they haven't pulled the zone, but I mean, to be honest, it's as close as you want it to be. You can see making use of a very good edit for the crash pad to not go as high up and not open up as much of an opportunity for the opponents to take shots on you as you're flying through. But this could be very bad for Cammy, Jacob. All it takes is the one decision to walk into the tower, and that could be Cammy's demise.
I'm a little scared for him because feels like they left the chest. They left the loot here. Cammy's going straight up.
Okay.
This is going to be it right here. Depending if a chest spawned towards the bottom, there might not necessarily be a reason to drop down there. Luckily, he caught it at the tail end, but the piece control goes on over. They take Cammy out like a light, and you see Seti immediately react, tries to grapple blade to safety. And the Misha and Teeny-S strategies coming out and finding some success here onto Cammy. And that leaves pressure onto Seti. Options for Andalex and Sato to go ahead and camp the card if they want. Because taking Seti and Cammy out of the game or leaving one of them to solo wouldn't necessarily be a bad option.
Seti's game difficulty just changed to hard mode after losing his duo partner, now forced into a tough spot. Nebs and iDrop continuing with their engagement here, but ultimately it might just not be worth it. Looks like there's already loot that's been put on the ground, most likely from either a combat cache or some eliminations. I'm gonna lean towards the combat cache though, as now they recuperate that extra shield.
Swift and in a hurry. I don't know where they found this loot, but they definitely do pack a punch no matter who they're fighting. It has to be Lavish Lair, judging by the Mythic Frenzy, and he's wasting no time getting into the box, and just like that, you really see what that Mythic is made of. Ends the fight in the blink of an eye, along with the help of Khan, obviously, but it just goes to show, man, sometimes if you're not on the same page, all it takes is 1-2 seconds of not being on the same page to kind of end up in a fight just like that. And going up against a team as strong as they have been on the day, it's going to be lights out.
Pablo Bevy's feeling happy, having just picked up an elimination, recuperating a bit of materials. I mean, they're basically maxed out now. Even in the zone position they're in at the Ruined Reels, they're quite centered currently, so they really don't have much to worry about with the damage they just got. 64 players are up, 33 duos. It's gonna be stressful.
Definitely one of those games that is playing out a little bit quicker than some of the other games so far, but up it gets to a certain point when everybody gets stacked together, a lot of those aggressive plays will begin to slow down. It's TD and Misha. They're the ones who claimed Grand Glacier for themselves since Veno and Tayson qualified and won a game. And you saw a couple teams move over in this direction, thinking it is going to be a free but it is actually not. Misha was able to get 2 eliminations up until this point. You see a little bit of the leaderboards. That is essentially the bubble. You see 24th at 88 points. They're down. So teams will be looking to maybe get around 90, 95 or so points, push that threshold upward, and at least get another chance to play tomorrow.
Looking back over at Andalix and Sado, they're in the same position as where they took out Cammy. So it looks like they do not want to let Seti pick up the reboot card. And I mean, with them being inside of zone and having an elimination, being on the uncongested side, they currently aren't really losing too much by waiting for this card, but it's just gonna make Seti's game that much more difficult.
Almost makes you wonder if they're still nearby in that location. You still kind of see them over there. And this is what I kind of thought would potentially happen, especially when you know it's a team like Seti and Cammy. You take one of them out. You don't have to rotate due to zone, allowing you to stay there. And you kind of get the luxury to camp the card and force a superstar team to play it out as a solo. And that's going to put a ton of pressure onto Seti to try to figure things out.
I don't like that Seti has a crash pad in his hand here, as it makes me think he's going to do the Flowberry crash pad rotate right onto Cammy's card, but he might come out with a little surprise. The same surprise that Cammy had. Oh, this is not looking good, Jacob.
Anything can happen. He still has the grapple blade. He has the fizz. He has one more crash pad. But he has Andalex boxed him up. Seti's trying to fight back. He gets a player weak and even a knock, but it's not going to be enough. Almost goes back to back, taking down Andalex as well, but it's just not enough. The numbers game, and Seti and Cammy, just like that, are out of this game.
What a tragic way to end your last match. But look, Jacob, if there's a duo I'm not too worried about when they're put up against a consistency qualification, it's Cammy and Seti. Moving on to day 3, all they'll have to do is play consistent. I'm quite confident that they'll be able to do so.
Yeah, they started this game in about 11th place, 180 points. You got to imagine that's way more than enough for that to hold on. But Fury and Curb spot out Trulex and Chicho on the other side. It's about time for those weapon caches to start appearing, so we're going to see a lot of close range combat fights along the map, especially along the sides of the map, just like this.
Both duos now kind of just looking at each other. No shots have been taken yet. I mean, Fury and Curb are not going to just stay in that wood box for a long time, I'd assume, or hope so at least. So we'll see what ends up happening. Building up a little bit more vision, bit more safety. Chicho and Trulex, though, have had some rough matches leading up to this. Chicho trying to survive as a solo, but in the last game, they were close. Looking to see if they can make something happen in this last match.
Yeah, they need a big game for multiple reasons. Particularly, it's a win for the finals, like we've been saying, but they're just far down on the leaderboard. 36 plates, 46 points to start this game off. So they need a huge jump, and that usually comes in the form of winning the game or eliminations with maybe a top 5 or a top 10 with where they're currently positioned on the leaderboard. But Pablo and Bevis, game after game, it's looking better and better each and every time. Now they get the loot from Rift Island, and I feel like this is the best we've seen them almost all day long in terms of loot.
Now they can kind of stay up here as well, make a little base, refarming the materials that they use to build it on the Rift Island, and then use their current position to get damage on the players in the surrounding area, or even the duos that are boxing up the rifts down below, which they'll later use to rotate, just like Pinq and Vico, who had a very strong start to this match with 4 eliminations, but now they're kind of, you know, relaxing a little bit, taking it slow. They have what they need. All that's left is the victory royale.
Yeah, and I would kind of guess that exactly. They're just staggering themselves. They have the Storm Surge, and then they have the Forecast Tower as well. So instead of going straight to where the next zone is, they're boxing up near one of these rifts. So that way, when this zone closes, the next one opens up. The next zone after that will be revealed and allow them to get to the zone, get to the proper position a little bit quicker rather than they would act hastily now.
That gives them such a benefit that it's the reason why they've been constantly battling the Forecast Tower against Kiro and Kiduo. as if you do get it, it really does pay off, especially if you have the positioning, the loot that they do right now. Snazy and Podesai now close to eyedrop and Nebs. Looks like there was a bit of an engagement going through, but nothing that ended in eliminations.
And that disengage from early on is just eyedrop and Nebs just trying to stay ahead of the game when it comes to the zone. Podesai and Snazy with the Flowberry Fizz probably eyeing up a rotation themselves. They look towards the top. That's not the way of the zone, but they know somebody's up there. That's the thing, and you see it in the minimap. That is going to be confirmed. They're just trying to watch out for when they do make this rotation. It's the teams that do have the elevation that will get those line of sights, and that'll be the most threatening in terms of receiving shots from.
Now that eyedrop and Nebs have gone further with the rotation, it opened up the freedom for Podesai and Snazy to do the same without being at risk of losing a lot of shield. For Topco and Mahi, though, they're a little bit out of the zone, and they do have some duos getting closer and closer to them, but they will try and use a Flowberry crash pad. Actually bouncing off a build, though, so they don't go too high up. As now they're getting closer and closer to the edge, but the duos based up are going to be the ones taking those shots.
Yeah, that mistake might have been a little bit of a saving grace as well, because you got to imagine with all the teams boxed up near them, how many shots they likely would have received getting into the same position here. So they're able to bypass a lot of aggressive teams looking for Storm Surge themselves, and it isn't really going to be into the next zone. Maybe the one after that, Storm Surge is going to be active in this game, but a lot of duos have to prepare for it, because we've seen them get caught off guard and not really able to take control of their game, as Mahi trying to line up a cheeky shot, playing defensive with his teammate, but he gets tagged up nonetheless.
Pablo Bevy's still on the Rift Island, kind of with the freedom to take shots at these players, but quickly enough, 6th zone is up, it's pulled away, and now these players are all going to have to continue with the rotations, but CCB, quick headshot snipe, and that's a huge refresh.
Yeah, it wasn't just a knock. You know he's out, so you know also his duo is nowhere near in sight. Easy cleanup, easy loot. It's about making it to the next stage of the game, which is the zone. You see the med kits. They're just trying to use whatever they can out of them, leave nothing behind for another team to pick up and potentially win with. Possibly change the tides, but this is where everybody's going to rotate on over. And you got to imagine Pinq and Vico, the storyline for them, the forecast tower, the rift, and I don't necessarily see them boxed up there on that side anymore. So probably already making their rotation just along with everybody else in the lobby. But it's CZB and Nathan Takata that are probably the slowest ones to rotate on over. So they're probably trying to look for a gap that they can use for their advantage.
Exactly. There's pros and cons to it. There's going to be more players boxed up taking shots at them, but at the same time, there's also going to be players in front of them who have already done that rotation, and the focus is almost on them, and they can even recycle the builds that have already been placed. Rise and Skyjump now 751 above, not a duo that needs to deal damage, and not even a duo that needs to move. Already have a metal base inside of the zone. Now it's all about maybe even just finding some eliminations on the duos that are rotating in that aren't too healthy or even are coming in from the zone.
Yep. Pinq and Vico finally on board. They made that rotation on over from Rift Island. Didn't make it all the way into the zone. And if anybody knows, and I've seen this strategy, it's kind of hard to follow, but if you know a team like Pinq and Vico do have that forecast tower, you have teams that will tend to follow their rotation, not necessarily try to engage, but that way it makes it easier for them to rotate as well. If any team has note of either Pinq or Vico or any other teams with the forecast tower, that would be a viable strategy at this point. Incredibly
viable, especially, you know, the benefit of being in set lobbies and knowing which duos tend to fight for these forecast towers. If you see them later on in the match, you say, you know something I don't. I'm gonna be following you, but Shimoki is actually gonna be quickly changing positions here at 13 below, now in a more congested side with more options to do damage, as it's exactly what he needs to do.
13 below, 27. Back to 13, up and down they go on the Storm Surge leaderboard. Wheat's there by himself, separated from his duo Shimoki, but that gives him more lines of sight, more ground to cover, and now they're attacking from two different angles. Wheat takes a ton of damage from Storm Surge and trading shots. Pinq and Vico nearby as well. They're going to act as the gatekeepers if any of these teams get just a little too close to them on that edge of zone.
Vico and Pinq was trying to see if they knew that Wheat was a solo in that moment, but these aren't times where you want to make aggressive plays. When Storm Surge is like this, all the duos in the lobby are kind of waiting for that moment to strike and start taking shots on who needs damage. Shimoki and Wheat, luckily enough, were able to get 45 above, and it has not changed since. So they're currently holding on.
They don't have any heals, so it's almost mandatory that they stay above the damage threshold to keep control over their own game. Pings and Mixin just rotating 258 above the damage threshold. You can see they're going towards the east. They know a lot of teams have the same line of sight as they do, making this rotation on over. So they're trying to take it step by step before they finally make their way in. Have to be careful though, because they are on the edge of a mountain. A team could box up right below. But I think with the multiple opportunities they have right in front of them to shoot some shots, get even higher above the threshold. Even Stan sneaking through with the bush, but he's going down to Surge. One more tick is all he can really take before he goes down altogether. I think that was him you heard.
Yeah, I definitely heard that. You can see the has been eliminated. Pinq Mixin though, looking healthy, 117 above, and now the pressure is on the duo close to them. This could be an opportunity for a pre-edit. It's exactly what's about to go down as Pinq heads right into the action, but there's more duos in the surrounding area. So much chaos. This is not where you want to be.
Yeah, what looked like a great position now has turned on them. They're now the focus when they were just trying to join the party. Multiple teams from high ground, from low ground. A lot of these builds are being expended here, and their chances for high ground are slowly but surely slipping out of their hands. Finally, these stabilize momentarily, but it's only for a quick moment as that duo ran up into their box. You see the sneaky plays trying to come through, not able to get the edit, and they saw that one coming since the miss edit came through. But luckily enough, everybody now has to rotate, so they live to fight another day.
All the duos grapple blading through. Now, this 8th zone makes it very difficult for the players that are on the edge, especially up north. 55 above, but Pinq and Vico, 6 elims heading into 8th zone, almost 1,000 above the threshold. If they keep this momentum up, Jacob, we could see them securing a golden ticket.
Yeah, we saw them get elims in the early game to make it to this point, and you're seeing how they were able to find that knock onto Shimoki, and immediately they don't get greedy for it. They find another one on the Monier, back to back, and those are 2 separate duos. So there's a couple solos running around this lobby now.
Getting back to 200 effective shield and HP. They've even pulled the 9th zone, or maybe even just rotated early. It's heading right back towards them. Are they going to stay ahead? They have the materials to do so, as now all these players who are up above are going to have to begin the rotation.
I will say for everybody playing here in this end game, it's a little bit relaxing, almost a sigh of relief that there's not a lot of mountainous ranges on this side of the map where you got to go through a roller coaster. But Drops is going through a roller coaster of his own, a roller coaster of emotions as he gets dropped, leaving a lot onto Nebs. You see the floppers being passed around, but he doesn't have time to grab them just yet. The shots are still firing through, and the blessing is the zone moving. So now that he is going to be left as a solo, at least he's no longer the focus of the lobby.
Buckle up. Nebs now has to continue without a duo partner. Not able to secure his grapple blade onto the builds that he wants. Just 32 above as well, although he is going to be able to make it ahead. The issue is he has to do damage, but he does have the shields and materials to support him.
Yeah, Drops clutch in week 2. Now it's his time to clutch and advance into the grand finals. Pinq and Mixin using what little flowberry they do have left to try to get to the front side of the zone and jumping over all those teams on that mid layer. It almost looks like they're playing a box fight just to make their way across the map to find some safety on the front side of the zone.
Making sure to refarm trees, rocks, anything in their sight. Even in previous builds now, zone continues moving. Not a duo fully claimed height yet, but it looks like Vico and Pinq are gonna stay down below in the dirt as now his duo partner has gone down. Vico has to make the decision. Does he pick up?
This could be a pivotal decision. Every single team today that has won a game has done it through high ground. Pinq and Vico are looking to flip the script. The revive is going to come through and a second chance at life here in this game. And this is what we called the one. They got the forecast tower. Early eliminations. They set themselves up right, but they have to go through teams like this. Pablo and Bevies. They have the high ground, and they're continuing the trend if they can hold on to it.
It's all about maintaining it, as Pinq now is going to be the one that's up. Vico has gone down. They've traded positions as the Flowberry Fizz comes through, recuperating that shield that was lost, but with just 53 builds, Pinq is gonna have to make something insane happen.
He's still receiving the effects of the forecast tower as well. It isn't much, but at least it's something that he can hold on to try to plan ahead. Alex and Sato, better late than never. High ground's going to be taken. Bevies and Pablo are receiving so much pressure. They're just trying to force him down so they don't have to worry about it later on in this game. And you see them building up even more towards the backside of the zone. They don't want to get snug, but they get chopped down instead. They get forced all the way down low to the low ground.
It's back to Pablo and Bevies once again, kings of the high ground. All they need to do is maintain it, but with only 11, 10 builds now, all wood. The pressure continues as the opponents keep building up.
You gotta be careful though. No grapple blade means you have to pop the fizz at the perfect time. Bevies gets taken down. CZB is going to be one of the only ones left ready to contest Pablo, but he looks like he could be a solo as well. He's doing all he can. Medkit's gonna come out, trying to give himself HP, but everything comes crashing down. He goes to the backside of the zone to hold on. This is where it gets crucial because he has no build, so it's gonna be the Flowberry Fizz as his only option to get down.
Flowberry Fizz activated, no longer going to take fall damage. Next medkit is popped for Chicho, playing as a solo, closer to the lower layers here, staying ahead of zone, but no materials.
This is gonna get really dicey for Chicho as he's bobbing in and out of the builds, ends up in a 1v against Teeny, but he gets taken down. Misha falls as well. Solo after solo is getting stuck by themselves. Skyjump included, but Skyjump at least gets the elimination.
Yapko still has his duo partner up. Synergy, chemistry is what's needed now as Pablo attempting to get a medkit off. He's going to be unable to. It's canceled by Yapko, and he secures the elimination.
3 teams left, and only one of them is a full duo. That's Yapko and Blaha as they take down Skyjump as well. Blaha is going to go down. 1v1 situation. Pinq, he has to take him out, and he doesn't. Pinq clutches big. He takes the game in his own hands. 8 elimination, no heal off, no problem. Welcome to the grand finals.
From out of nowhere, Pinq flies in, securing the last shot to take his spot in the grand finals, playing as a solo. Vico got eliminated, and Pinq finished it off.
I know there was a script somewhere. I didn't read it before the game, but I guarantee you that script word for word says the comeback from Vico and Pinq is real, and you gotta give Pinq all the credit in the world. As a solo, getting hunted, he did it game after game, and he held strong mentally to come out on top on the final game of the day, and these are the crucial moments. 1 HP in a dream, and let me tell you, that man dreams big.
What a way to finish it off. That 1 HP elimination allowed him to get 3 extra med kits, which permitted him to play inside the zone, heal up, and strike right when there was only 1 player left, and that is what got him the VR.
I can almost imagine the conversations there coming out from Vico, who is eliminated. You have to go in. You have to get the elimination because those medkits were used just to get Pinq that far. But man, that was one game, and congratulations to Pinq and Vico one more time.
I could have not asked for a better way to end the day off, but that's it for me and Jacob today. Let's head right back to the 3 beautiful phrases, Frankie, Levin, and Minnie.